Chapter 1. The gallery should have whispered new beginnings. Instead, it stank of brine and mildew, a spiteful gift from the sea. Elena breathed through it. Donors wanted brilliance, critics wanted blood, and one critic in particular could eviscerate her career with a single paragraph. The door sighed open, and there she was, Sophia Reyes, the art critic. Nicknamed the Scalpel, Ms. Reyes had once reduced entire exhibitions to rubble with a single review. She now stood in Elena's failing gallery, installed as a consultant, courtesy of the gallery's ever-meddling manager. Elena called it sabotage, like trusting a shark to organize a swimming schedule. Elena had read about her work back in Milan, sharp, merciless dissections that left no room for mediocrity. Today, Sophia wore jeans and a plain blouse, hair tucked back like vanity was beneath her, which, Elena wryly thought, was its own form of vanity. Sophia's blouse clung just enough to suggest a body as disciplined as her mind. And Elena resented noticing it. Instead, she pasted on a smile, professional, warm. But her mind ran circles. Was she about to place her career in the hands of someone who shredded them for sport? Why would a woman like Sophia take this job? The art curator nearly missed a rung climbing down. "Welcome to Malindi," Elena said, landing on the floor with more force than grace. She stretched out her hand, professional smile in place, though her pulse betrayed her. Sophia took it, grip steady, cool, her expression unreadable. Elena hated how intrigued she felt. This was supposed to be work. Safe, ambitious, respectable work. "Quite the entrance," Sophia said, eyes flicking to the latter. Her voice low, lightly amused. "Mocking already." "Perfect," Elena thought. "I like to set the tone," Elena replied. She wasn't about to give this woman the satisfaction of rattling her. Sophia's gaze drifted over the walls, lingering on the empty spaces where Elena imagined brilliance would soon hang. The look wasn't cruel, but it carried weight like an appraisal, but not the flattering kind. Elena folded her arms. "You'll have to forgive the smell. The ocean insists on curating alongside me," Sophia's mouth quirked. "At least you're honest." "Not all curators are." The words shouldn't have stung, but they did. Elena forced a laugh. "Well, honesty is a dangerous habit in the art world. You should know." For the first time, Sophia looked directly at her, and Elena felt the weight of it, sharp, searching, like she'd been pinned to the wall herself. She realized two things with absolute certainty. This woman would challenge everything she thought she knew about art. She might also challenge everything Elena thought she knew about herself. Chapter 2. By the next morning, Elena had convinced herself she'd overreacted. Sophia was sharp, so what? She was here as a logistics consultant. She wasn't here to dismantle Elena's flailing career with one of her surgical critiques, or so Elena told herself as she walked from the guest house to the gallery. It almost worked, right up until she stepped inside and saw Sophia already there. Early, as if she owned the place. The consultant stood under the skylight, hair catching the Malindi sun, eyes on the lighting grid overhead. She was scribbling notes, completely absorbed, while Elena's grand vision, her exhibit, hovered half-installed around them. "Good morning," Elena said, brisker than intended. Sophia glanced at her. "These fixtures will need reinforcement. The beams can't hold that much weight. No greeting, just another scalpel line observation." Elena pasted on professionalism. "The contractors assured me it was fine." Sophia's eyebrow lifted. Not defiant, not mocking, just quietly certain. "Contractors lie to make deadlines." Elena swallowed a retort. Just then, the universe decided to test her patience further. "Ma chère!" What a sight, brilliance framed in light. Adrien Leclerc swept in like the tide, linen shirt unbuttoned just enough to offend. He went straight to Sophia, ignoring Elena as if she were staff. "You must be Sophia," he said warmly, extending a hand. "I've heard whispers already." The mysterious consultant with the eye of a poet. "You see, Elena, this is what I admire about you. Surrounding yourself with women of vision, it elevates us all. Us. As if he and Elena were collaborators instead of rival business owners. As if Sophia were his discovery." "Some of us don't need elevating," Elena said tightly. Adrien chuckled. His glance back at Sophia, pointed, unsubtle. Elena's folder bent under her grip. Sophia cleared her throat softly, trying to redirect. "Should we review the placement for the central piece?" Her calm professionalism infuriating. It screamed neutrality when Elena was sparking at both ends. Neutrality that to Adrian's eyes probably looked like acquiescence. Before Elena's fury could spike further, in came Mama Achieng Odede, an older, eccentric artist draped in kitenge layers that clashed gloriously with the gallery's sterile walls. She carried her cane like a scepter and surveyed the half-hung canvases with disdain. Elena held her breath, dreadful. Mama Achieng never entered a room without detonating it. More so when her art was concerned. Still too clean, Mama muttered, waving her hand. Where is the grit? The chaos? An art exhibition without mess is just furniture. Adrian beamed, rushing forward. Madame Odette, an honor. Adrian Leclerc, patron of the arts. Mama gave him a long, unimpressed look. You smell like you sell yachts. Elena nearly choked on her own laugh. Sophia's lips twitched. Adrian tried again. I collect. I elevate voices. You elevate yourself, Mama cut in. A megaphone and designer shoes. Sophia's eyes flicked down to her notes, hiding a smile. Then Mama Achieng turned, gaze sharpening on Sophia. And you, the quiet storm. You do not smile with your mouth, but with your eyes. Dangerous. Sophia shifted, caught off guard. I suppose that's one way to put it. Mama clapped her hands in delight. Ah, already you and Elena vibrate like mismatched strings on the same instrument. Dissonant but unforgettable. Elena forced a laugh. We're just working together. Mama's eyes gleamed. Yes, work. Always the excuse before trouble begins. The words landed heavy. Elena looked at Sophia, catching irritation, amusement, and something quieter beneath her eyes. It made her look away first. Chapter 3. The gallery had a different pulse at night. With only a few bulbs humming, shadows loomed. Mama Achieng gave a last sweeping glance around the room like a monarch surveying her court. Good. The foundation is done. Just a few details remain. She clapped her hands, bracelets jangling. Her eyes lingered on Sophia, then Elena. Elena made a show of scribbling on her clipboard. We'll manage. Mama Achieng said, clearly unconvinced. She patted Sophia's arm, a knowing weight in her touch. Then, with the elegance of a matriarch who had lived entirely on her own terms, she swept out, wrap trailing behind her like a departing tide. The gallery instantly felt emptier. Too empty. Adrian remained, pocketing, leaning against the wall like he had every right to be there. You know, he said, voice echoing lightly against the high ceiling, the acoustics in here are criminal. A space like this deserves sound as precise as the lighting. Elena tilted her head at him, her sarcastic tone bone dry. Yeah, tragic, he grinned. I was thinking more, a panel here, a softer surface there. He gestured expansively, as though the room might rearrange itself to his liking. Or, Elena said, faint smile tugging, you could imagine me pretending to care. He laughed, delighted. Elena's pen dug harder into her clipboard. Adrian checked his watch with a sigh. Well, I'll let you geniuses fight over angles and shadows. If you need me, I'll be nobly suffering some last-minute orders at my space. Try not to suffer too loudly, Sophia replied. He winked, pushed off the wall, and strolled out. Elena's exhale was sharp and unplanned, like she'd been holding it too long. The silence left behind was thick. Elena dragged a frame toward the center of the gallery, her movements brisk, almost punitive. Sophia stepped in, steadying it before it scraped the floor. Their shoulders brushed. This piece anchors the entire flow here, Elena said firmly. Without it, the room collapses. Sophia calmly adjusted her grip. No, the center will pull the eye too soon. Better off to the left so it's discovered, not announced. Off-center makes it look like an afterthought. Elena contended, or like something worth pausing for. Sophia argued. Not everything has to be a riddle. Elena retorted. And not everything has to be shouted, said Sophia. The words landed and stayed, vibrating in the air between them. They both reached to steady the frame. Fingers colliding, neither pulled back immediately. Sophia leaned in, close enough that Elena caught the faint salt and soap scent of her. Too close. Her body betrayed her with a shiver she disguised as irritation. For a suspended second, Elena noticed too much. The firmness of Sophia's grip, the warmth bleeding through skin. A heartbeat stretched too far. Elena forced a crooked half-smile. Great! At this rate, we'll kill each other before opening night. Sophia's gaze lingered. Her reply unexpectedly softer. Or make it unforgettable. Elena's chest tightened. She looked away, grasping for safe ground. Clearing her throat. You seemed she started, then regretted it instantly. But the words tumbled out anyway. You seemed to enjoy Adrian's company earlier. Sophia blinked, caught off guard. Adrian? He was just talking about himself. He was talking into your ear, Elena muttered, the sentence quieter, edged with something she didn't want examined. A pause. Then Sophia's voice cooled. Are you always this observant with your consultants? Elena's pulse jumped. I'm not, she faltered, covering fast. I just don't like distractions. The unspoken part hung in the air. I don't like him distracting you. Elena shut her notebook with a snap. The sound ricocheted off the gallery walls. She stepped back, distance reasserted. Sophia moved toward the door. At the threshold, she paused, voice gentler, though still laced with something Elena couldn't name. Don't like distractions, huh? Then maybe, Sophia said evenly, you should stop being one. Elena froze. You're impossible. And then she was gone, footsteps echoing down the corridor until silence claimed them. Elena stood alone in the dim gallery, frames looming like watchful silhouettes. Her hand still tingled from where their fingers had collided. She told herself it was irritation, and she almost believed it, almost. Chapter 4. Donors were a week away, and the gallery still looked more construction site than sanctuary. Elena hated it, but she and Sophia were tethered together now. They shifted canvases, tested lights, argued over angles. Sophia dismissed half of Elena's ideas with a single raised brow. Elena rejected Sophia's with a stubborn tilt of her chin. Each battle was small, petty, yet oddly exhilarating. Meanwhile, Adrian continued to pop up like a bad rash. One afternoon, he leaned casually against a crate, watching Sophia cataloging some items. You know, he said conversationally, our dear Elena once curated an exhibition in Florence that nearly caused a scandal. Sophia paused, frowning slightly. A scandal? Adrian's eyes glittered. She chose to feature a piece from an artist accused of plagiarism. She defended him, fiercely saying art was bigger than morality. Half the critics agreed, half tore her apart. Some called her reckless. Sophia stilled, her jaw tightening. She didn't like moral relativism in art. She'd written entire essays against it. From across the room, Elena caught the last of his words and bristled. But by the time she turned, Sophia was nodding politely, face unreadable. Adrian stepped closer to Sophia, lowering his voice. Too close. Far too familiar. From where Elena stood, it looked like intimacy. Sophia didn't pull away, only tilted her head slightly, listening, her arms crossed. To Elena, it was enough. Her stomach twisted. Adrian's smirk angled toward her, deliberate. She snapped her gaze back to her clipboard before she gave him the satisfaction. Later, as workers shuffled canvases and Sophia busied herself with measurements, Mama Achieng appeared at Elena's side. She had that uncanny knack of materializing exactly where she could do the most damage, even while meaning well. You're sulking, Mama Achieng declared. Elena stiffened. I'm working. You are sulking while holding paper. It's different. Elena didn't respond, jaw set. Mama Achieng leaned in, her voice low but razor-sharp. Don't let the Frenchman steal what you are too proud to admit you want. Elena's head jerked toward her. I don't, but Mama Achieng was already moving away, shawl fluttering like punctuation. I may be Kenyan, but I'm not blind, she reiterated in a sing-song voice. That night, with most of the crew gone, Elena found Sophia still at the gallery, bent over sketches, quiet in her own orbit. Elena hovered by the doorway, emotions snarled, irritation, longing, something she refused to name. You should be careful with Adrian, she said, sharper than intended. Sophia glanced up calmly. Careful? He enjoys games. He'll use anyone to get leverage. Sophia set her pencil down, eyes narrowing faintly. And what do you think he's using me for? Elena faltered, heat rising in her throat. I don't know, attention. Or maybe because you let him stand too close. The words came out raw, unfiltered. Sophia blinked, surprised. Then slowly, carefully, you're jealous. I'm not jealous. Elena shot back instantly, too fast, too loud. Her pulse betrayed her. Sophia tilted her head, studying her. Then what are you? Elena opened her mouth, but the truth lodged in her chest. Her eyes betrayed her before her words could. She turned away, voice low. Forget it, Sophia didn't push. She only watched, quiet as always. But something unreadable flickered in her gaze. Elena gripped the edge of the doorway, grounding herself, wishing she had someone to blame for how much Sophia unsettled her. The gallery lights buzzed faintly. Between them, the silence wasn't neutral anymore. It was charged, heavy, dangerous. Neither moved to break it. Sophia slowly exhaled. Good night, Elena. She then turned and made her way to her guest house. Chapter 5. The gallery felt hollow the next morning, as though the walls had absorbed last night's argument and were now exhaling it back in size. Elena arrived early, determined to bury herself in schedules and installation plans, only to find a heavy cream envelope waiting on her desk. Embossed, perfumed faintly with something citrusy and expensive, the Italian ambassador's crest. She didn't need to open it to know. A cocktail dinner, of course. A donor soirée to celebrate the cultural triumph of an exhibit not even finished. Nothing made Elena grind her teeth more than premature celebration. But she also knew that declining the invite was impossible. The ambassador's money kept the scaffolding up and the lights on. Offending him was a mistake she couldn't afford. Sophia arrived minutes later, hair damp from the coastal humidity, looking as unbothered as ever. Elena pushed the envelope toward her without a word. A dinner? Sophia asked, scanning the calligraphic script. She scowled faintly. Is it necessary? Elena folded the invitation back into its envelope with careful precision. It's part of the job. Best to endure it gracefully. Elena nearly laughed at the irony of her own words. She'd spent years enduring things gracefully, only to discover grace was never what people remembered. They remembered mistakes, whispers, the cracks. Fine, Sophia said at last. We'll go, together. The villa glittered with strings of lights, and the sea breeze rattled the linen canopies. Guests glided across the terrace in silk and linen. Elena stepped onto the terrace in a black dress that clung more than she intended, chosen out of stubbornness, not vanity. Its high neckline promised discipline, until Sophia stepped up beside her in a midnight blue pantsuit, shirtless beneath the jacket, lantern light catching on sharp lines and bare skin. Discipline suddenly felt like a joke. Their host appeared then, descending the staircase with the ease of a man who had never been denied anything. Shock of white hair, sun-polished tan, smile a little too polished. After the requisite hugs and air kisses, he turned to Elena, eyes gleaming with the same relish he gave his wine. Tell me, Signorina Rossi, he drawled, is it true you left Madrid? Under difficult circumstances? Elena froze, her glass suspended midair. The hush of surf against the cliffs below seemed loud. I left Madrid, she said evenly, because Madrid was finished with me. Adrian, ever the pest, sidled up with mock gallantry. Oh, nothing improper, of course. She only had the kind of passion that makes institutions nervous, especially those that prefer their people quiet and compliant. Oh, I'm sure she had valid reasons, the donor quietly responded, excusing himself to check on another cluster of guests. Turning back to Adrian, Elena smiled, thin as a blade. Quiet and compliant? And yet they keep inviting you everywhere, Adrian. Sophia's gaze flicked between them. She shifted, started to speak, then thought better of it, finally offering almost absently, anyone up for another drink? Elena noted Sophia's attempt at deflection. She did not respond right away, her glare still on Adrian. After a beat, she stepped away from him, nudging Elena along. Her voice low and edged, and muttered, Yes, I could use a break from this. Mama Achieng, who had been prowling the terrace like a cat holding her third glass of champagne, materialized at Elena's elbow just as Sophia went to fetch their drinks. She looked at Sophia's departing figure, then turned to Elena, eyes glinting with merciless amusement. You keep staring at him as if he's the problem. The problem is that you deny what you want. Elena's jaw tightened. I've no idea what you're talking about, Mama Achieng laughed softly, shaking her head. Then you'll wake up one day to find the Frenchman has stolen what you wanted while you were busy nursing pride. Just then, Sophia rejoined them with the drinks. Before Elena could respond, Mama Achieng pressed a quick kiss to her cheek, muttering something about midnight and bad knees, and swept toward the villa gates, leaving Elena with an ashen taste in her mouth. Later, when the terrace lights blurred and the night grew heavier with salt, Sophia found Elena leaning against the balustrade, staring at the sea. She said something to you, Sophia said quietly. About pride, Elena didn't look at her. She says things to everyone. It's her sport. No, Sophia pressed gently. This was different. What did she mean? Elena turned then, sharply, and the words spilled before she could call them back. She meant I can't stand watching you let him hover, lean, pretend he owns your attention. Sophia blinked, startled, her voice low. Elena? He doesn't, Elena said, the words raw now, breaking. He shouldn't? She stopped herself, throat tightening. The two of them stood in silence, their shoulders inches apart, both shaken, neither daring to move first. Laughter drifted from inside the villa, warm and careless, splintering the fragile moment. The sea kept pounding the cliffs below, relentless, unbothered by human pride and the storms it caused. Chapter 6. The donors were days away, yet the exhibition still felt unfinished, raw. Elena's nerves frayed to threads. Every canvas looked wrong, every wall too bare. Sophia's voice carried, sharp against the empty rafters. This corner is dead. It's intentional, Elena snapped, pacing, hands restless. Negative space. It's cowardice dressed as design, Sophia cut in. The words hit like a lash. Elena whirled, fire in her chest. But before she could strike back, Adrian slithered in with his cologne and smirk. Charming little effort, Elena, he said, surveying the chaos. Though perhaps too ambitious for Malindi. Elena's jaw locked. Sophia stepped forward, cool as glass. Better ambition than your brand of mediocrity. The verbal slap landed clean, and Adrian left with his smirk curdled. Moments later, Sophia was in the back room, glaring at a ledger. Apparently, Adrian brought it earlier, claiming to have received it from concerned parties. Sophia's lips were pressed so tight they'd gone white. Elena hovered in the doorway. She had seen the other woman frown before, polite, sharp, cutting, but never like this. She wanted to say it wasn't what it looked like, though she had no idea which part Sophia thought she was guilty of. Any explanation meant unearthing things she'd buried for a decade. According to this, you weren't just visiting. You were running the restoration. Until it collapsed, Sophia said finally, voice steady. Not a question. A verdict, Elena swallowed. Sort of. Sophia's gaze snapped up, sharp as glass. Because the records suggest otherwise. Funds missing? A name that isn't yours. Elena forced a laugh that tasted like rust. Ah, yeah. I once decided Elena Rossi sounded too much like a soap opera star, so I signed on as Elena Rinaldi, cloak and dagger at its finest. Sophia didn't laugh. The accusation, mismanaged funds, a failed project, hung heavier than humor could cover. Sophia shut the ledger with quiet finality. And you didn't think that was relevant to mention? Because it isn't, Elena wanted to snap. Because if I tell you why I left, you'll look at me like everyone else did, with pity, or worse, disappointment. Instead, she shrugged, going for the careless, too cool mask that had saved her before. I didn't think my youthful mistakes were riveting enough dinner conversation. Sophia turned away, busying herself with stacking catalogs that didn't need stacking. Her silence filled the room like smoke. Later that evening, Mama Achieng caught Elena lurking in the courtyard, pretending to smoke a cigarette she hadn't lit. You sulk like a cat denied cream, Mama said, lowering herself onto the bench beside her. What's the matter? Frenchman too smug? Or Sophia too sharp? Both, Elena muttered, then betraying herself. She thinks I've been lying. Have you? Elena hesitated. A beat too long, Mama smiled knowingly, shaking her head. Oh, you young ones! You think secrets are stones you can hide in your pockets? But stones make bulges. People notice, Elena groaned. I didn't lie, I omitted. Which is lying's elegant cousin, Mama replied, patting her hand. After that, Sophia remained cool, detached, overly polite. All of Elena's least favorite adjectives. The tension finally snapped 2 days later. They were cataloging artifacts when Elena reached for a notebook and their fingers brushed. Sophia withdrew hers like she'd touched fire. Enough! All right! Elena burst out, louder than she intended. What crime am I on trial for now? Poorly chosen aliases? Amateur restoration mistakes? Or the unforgivable sin of not bearing my tragic backstory over tea? Sophia blinked, startled, then narrowed her eyes. You could have told me. And what would that have solved? Elena snapped. So you'd know I once believed in a friend, in Adrian, and he messed me up? That I spent years trying to fix a mess bigger than me, only to realize some people aren't to be trusted? Fine. Consider yourself enlightened. The words tumbled out before she could stop them, raw and jagged. Her chest felt exposed, like she'd peeled off armor she didn't know she still wore. Sophia stood very still. Elena exhaled sharply, trying to reel it back in. She gestured vaguely, mockery her only shield. Congratulations, detective. Mystery solved. I'm damaged goods. Satisfied? For a heartbeat, silence. Then Sophia's expression shifted, softer, almost pained. She shook her head, murmuring, "You make it very hard to know you." Elena froze. Because beneath the irritation, beneath the wall, there was something in Sophia's voice that sounded dangerously like care, and Elena, fool that she was, wanted it. Chapter 7. On the eve of opening night, the gallery finally resembled something close to brilliance. The same gallery she once feared would crumble around her now hummed with life. But Elena felt hollow with exhaustion, nerves strung too tight to let her rest. She slid down the wall, legs heavy. A moment later, Sophia dropped beside her, closer than she needed to. Their shoulders touched, just barely, but Elena felt it everywhere. "It works," Sophia said quietly, gaze on the glowing room. "Because you wouldn't let it be ordinary." Elena's throat tightened. Praise from Sophia was rarer than rainfall in July. "You fought me every step." The words hung there, stretching the silence. Elena turned and found Sophia already watching her. The look wasn't sharp, wasn't critical. It was softer, dangerous in its honesty. Something Elena had no name for, only the ache of recognition. She should have looked away, but didn't. Couldn't. The space between them collapsed. A fuse burning down and then their mouths met, like a spark catching tinder. Tentative at first, then greedy, hungrier with every breath. Elena's hand slid to Sophia's jaw, holding her in place. Sophia's fingers closed around her wrist, anchoring, mouth claiming. When they tore apart, the air felt denser, charged. Sophia's voice came rough, unsteady. "This changes everything," Elena's pulse thundered. She wanted to agree, to let it change her. Instead, she forced the words out, a whisper. "It can't." Sophia's thumb brushed against Elena's lower lip, lingering as if memorizing it. The simple touch burned hotter than the kiss. The night folded in on itself after that. Too much unsaid, too much burning behind her ribs. Sleep when it came was shallow. And yet by morning, the exhibition had arrived, indifferent to her turmoil. Now everywhere she looked, she saw Sophia. Not literally, though she lingered near the back, her dark blouse offsetting her skin. Her stance casual, but her eyes lit with quiet fire. No, Sophia was everywhere because her fingerprints threaded through it all, the way the lighting carved each piece into sharp relief. The subtle pacing of the rooms, the rhythm of the evening itself. Elena had fought her every step, and yet together they had created this. She couldn't decide if the realization made her want to laugh or cry. From across the room, Elena caught fragments of praise, unexpected boldness, fearless curatorial choices. For once, the words didn't make her flinch. They landed. They belonged. She heard a critic murmur, "Brilliant!" Bold yet intimate. A revelation for Malindi. His pen scratched with sudden urgency, as if he'd stumbled into a discovery worth claiming. Another guest leaned over a wine glass, whispering, "I never expected something this polished here. It's international." Meanwhile, Sophia moved through the room like part of the architecture, sleek and deliberate, never lingering too long in one place. Critics approached her, asked about the lighting, about the decisions. She answered with calm precision, always redirecting credit. Elena's choices. Elena's vision. Each time, Elena's stomach knotted tighter. Gratitude, disbelief, and something warmer tangled into one ache. Adrian lurked near the entrance, glass of wine in hand, his smile forced into place like it had been stapled there. Elena saw him try to intercept donors, only for their eyes to slide past him, already fixed on the work. When Sophia finally passed by, he muttered something bitter. She didn't even pause. Just a cool glance, then gone. Adrian's smirk faltered, shrank, and finally slipped. Quiet defeat suited him. He slouched near the champagne table, his tie askew, his sharp-edged charm dulled under the gallery lights. He raised his glass at her in mock salute. "Well, you pulled it off," he said, his tone light but his eyes flat. "Didn't think you had it in you." Elena let the words slide over her. For once, she didn't feel the need to lunge at his bait. Adrian was a relic tonight, a shadow in a room that had never belonged to him. A cane tapped against the tiles as Mama Aching shuffled into view, face lit with smug delight. She planted herself in front of Elena, hands folded atop the cane like a queen with her scepter. "I told you, didn't I?" Two stubborn goats pulling one cart. "Strongest cart you'll ever see," Elena startled into laughter. Heat crept to her cheeks, half pride, half embarrassment. Sophia, catching the exchange from across the room, smiled faintly, as if she too felt the sting of being so accurately read. The night spun on, the gallery alive with applause and conversation, but Elena needed air. She slipped out onto the balcony, where the sea's breath drifted in cool against her flushed skin. Beyond the railing, Malindi's night stretched wide, a quilt of stars tossed across the horizon. The door creaked behind her. She didn't have to turn to know who it was. "Escaping your own party?" Sophia's voice was low, even, laced with that dry humor Elena had come to crave. Elena exhaled. "Just catching my breath." Sophia joined her at the railing, glass in hand. For a while they stood in silence, the muffled thrum of the party behind them, the ocean before them. Elena traced the rim of her flute with her thumb. For once, she didn't feel the need to fill the quiet. Finally, Sophia spoke. "You know, I was wrong." Elena's head turned. Sophia never admitted to being wrong. "I thought artists only saw dreams, never the ground beneath their feet." "But you—" She paused, searching Elena's face, her voice softening. "You don't just dream. You fight, you claw. You bleed for it, and that makes the dream worth standing on." Elena's throat tightened. The words slid under her skin, dissolving something brittle she'd carried for years. She stared out at the water, then said, "I thought proving myself meant doing it all alone. Like if I leaned on anyone else, I wasn't strong enough. But this—" She gestured vaguely back toward the glowing gallery. "This is better because it's ours. Because I didn't do it alone." Sophia's lips curved, small but real. "I wanted this for you." Elena's composure dissolved, melting under the weight of Sophia's words. When Elena spoke, her voice was barely audible. "It's not just this, is it? Not just tonight?" Sophia met her gaze, steady, unflinching for once. "No, it never was. The air was charged, not with tension, but with something gentler, heavier." Sophia set her glass down on the railing. Her hand brushed Elena's, slow, deliberate. Elena didn't pull away. Instead, she turned into her, closing the distance with a kiss that was nothing like the previous one. It was laden with promise. Elena clutched Sophia's blouse like she was terrified the moment might slip away. Sophia's hands anchored at her hips, grounding her, claiming her. Sophia tasted of wine and salt air. Elena let her eyes flutter shut, feeling the ground shift. Not falling, but landing. When they pulled back, neither spoke. Words would only break the fragile, perfect moment. Instead, Sophia reached for her hand. "Come with me," Elena whispered. Sophia didn't hesitate. Elena's fingers folded into hers, tight, certain. Together they stepped back inside, weaving through the thinning crowd until the door released them into the night. The gallery glowed behind them, laughter still spilling from its walls, but neither looked back. The street stretched out, silvered by moonlight, the ocean whispering beyond. Elena tilted her head up, breathing in the salt and the stars. Sophia's grip was warm in hers, solid, anchoring. For the first time in years, Elena didn't feel like she was walking into a fight. She was walking into a beginning, two silhouettes under Malindi's vast night sky, hand in hand. Love and partnership, possibility,